Hello, I'm Jackie Marchington from Caudex. I'm also co-chair of ISMPP Advocacy and Outreach Committee, and I'm a member of GAP, all of which will become clear as I tell you all about ISMPP. Just to disclose, these opinions are my own. My slides have been reviewed by ISMPP, and I have no financial conflicts of interest to declare. So what is ISMPP? ISMPP is the International Society for Medical Publication Professionals. It's a professional society open to membership for anybody involved in the publication of medical research, usually that's sponsored by the industry. So members are from the pharmaceutical industry, they're from MedComms agencies, they can be freelancers, we have some publishers and editors who are members as well, and a few academics, we'd like some more. ISMPP was started in about 2005 by 12 founder members, and they wanted an organisation, a membership organisation dedicated to advancing best practice in professional development of publications. It followed the publication of the original GPP in 2003, and it became evident that there was needs to inform, educate and encourage ethical publication practices amongst those in the industry. ISMPP vision and mission: to become a leading global authority. There is an I in ISMPP for a good reason. It really is an international society. And the mission is to advance the profession that we all do through enhanced integrity and transparency, improve standards and best practices, education, advocacy and collaborations. So what does ISMPP actually do? As a society, it provides guidance on best practice for medical publication professionals. It supports initiatives that speak to best practice, like GPP3, like the Medical Publishing Insights and Practices Initiative, which I can never remember what it stands for, so just say MPIP. And it undertakes advocacy for our profession as well. The Society also monitors external factors that may impact on our profession, such as things like the Sunshine Act and the data sharing initiatives, which are just coming out from the ICMJE. Strategic imperatives for the Society are listed here. They're around advocacy, they're around best practice, they're around globalisation and making sure that we are engaging with audiences from everywhere on the planet who are involved in publication development. The organisation strives to be collaborative with similar agencies, similar organisations. We're obviously looking to increase membership, and we're also looking to build the infrastructure to support the member activities. How does it work? It has permanent staff. It employs a president and 6 employees, not all of whom are full-time, who work in the ISMPP office. The rest of the organisation is built from volunteers. So there's a board of trustees with 10 elected volunteers elected by the membership. There are various committees with various remits, again chaired and staffed by volunteers. And then there's the membership, which is getting close to 1,600 at the 2016 annual meeting. The official numbers are 1,595. The strategy is set by the staff, by the president and the board of trustees, and it's rolled down to the committees, which I mentioned on the previous slide. There are several committees involved. There's the Education Committee, the Education Platform, who create all the me stuff, all the professional development stuff that's useful to the members. There is the membership programme, who are trying to attract members, obviously. The outreach platform, of which my committee is part, is the Advocacy and Outreach. We do reactive PR. We work on coalitions with other agencies, other organisations, and we work on advocacy in general. And then there is the Standards Committee, which develop things like best practices, which feed the Education Committee, which then develop materials for training. So it works quite nicely together. There's an additional platform at the bottom, the certification team. They created the Certified Medical Publication Professional Credential, or CMAP credential, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. And they have a credentialing committee and a recertification committee. So what has ISMPP done for me? ISMPP was involved in GPP 2 and 3. They weren't involved in the original ISMPP, but they took, the original GPP, but they took GPP 2 and 3 forward. They had a Sunshine Task Force when the Sunshine Act first came out to talk to the legislators in Washington and find out what the ramifications were going to be for publication professionals. They undertake outreach activities with the industry bodies and with other professional organisations like the American and European Medical Writers Associations. ISMPP's over 10 years old now, and there is on the ISMPP website there's a slide deck which goes through all the 10-year activities that ISMPP have been involved in, and all the little incremental changes and platforms that have happened over the last 10 years are detailed in there. It also creates aligned organisations like the MPIP I mentioned earlier. MPIP is a mixture of ISMAP members, industry representatives from outside ISMAP, and journal editors, and they work together to try and improve the way that industry-sponsored research is published. And GAP was also a spin-off organisation from ISMAP, which is a small, nimble, rapid response team of which I'm a member. So I can't resist a small plug for GAP. It's the Global Alliance of Publication Professionals, and our remit is to provide timely and credible responses to any adverse, influential stories about what we do. There are 5 of us involved in it, volunteers, and we rotate responsibility for taking the lead on the responses that we write. We rely heavily on ISMAP members and anybody in the profession to alert us to articles that might require a response, and the email address to contact us is there. Anything that's out of date, citing incorrect or old, outdated references, anything that's misinformed, misleading, we're happy to take a look at and decide whether we need to respond to it. So back to ISMAP. Okay, so who joins ISMAP? ISMAP is probably half agency, as you can see from here. Large proportion of industry, publication people, a few publishing and academics, and other is people like freelancers, some creative industry people, some recruiters, but recruitment is not a major function within ISMAP. Where are they from? I said there's an I in ISMAP for a reason. Although a large proportion of members are from USA and Canada and from the UK, the 3rd, 4th and 5th most popular regions for membership are China, Japan and India, which is really important given the volume of publications coming out of those countries at the moment. Are they people like me? Well, it kind of depends who you are. This is from the ISMAP member directory. People can claim what they're interested in, what their job functions are, and have more than one answer, so don't try and add up the ends. Most people are involved in publication planning, which is good because that's what society is for. Lots of writers, lots of med affairs people, scientific services editorials. So there's a very broad spectrum of membership in ISMAP. So are there people like me? Probably. What does it cost is a question we get quite often. It's similar in cost in membership to AMWA and EMWA. It's $195 a year. They've recently introduced an associate membership fee and reduced fee for $95 a year for emerging markets, basically, so Asia Pacific region and lower income countries, to try and encourage membership in those emerging areas. What do you get for your money? You get access to all of the resources on the ISMAP website and the knowledge of the membership, basically. Above the waterline on this slide, everyone has access to the Code of Ethics, position statements and the YouTube channel. It's all publicly accessible. But for members, there are additional resources. So the iceberg has things like the Standards Handbook, Publication Primer, which is 128 pages and a very good read, actually. There's the ISMAP U, ISMAP University webinars, which are monthly webinars with a Q&A, usually with 2 presenters and a moderator. Very useful resources, all of which are archived on the website for you to access afterwards. And there's the meeting archives as well, so all the annual meeting archives, the presentations and the member research that's presented at those is accessible to members only. I mentioned the meetings. We have 3 meetings, yearly meetings. There's one in the US, which is the annual meeting, which has just happened in April 2016. We have a European meeting, which is normally in London. And last year, for the first time, we had Asia Pacific meetings, which were held, exactly the same meeting programme, held in Beijing and then Tokyo, 3 or 4 days apart, so we could cover both areas. You can see from this there are different themes, and the themes of the meeting are appropriate to the audience. So you can see that the US meeting is talking about data transparency and fairly current, to us at least, topics, and the Asia Pacific meeting is really down to about ethical practices and collaboration for ethical publication practices. So the theme of the meeting is tailored to the audience who will be coming. The contents of the meeting, keynote speakers, panel sessions, roundtable sessions. There are optional training workshops which are available to people attending the meeting as well for additional fee. The member research is published. There's a lot of research done for ISMAP meetings by the membership, and it can be presented as posters, some oral presentations, and even some publications. Sadly, although we're all publication professionals, we're not very good at publishing our own research, and only about 2% of the research that's presented at ISMAP gets published. So we are actively trying to encourage people to conduct robust research that's going to build an evidence base for our profession and get it published. It's no use just talking to ourselves about it. We have to get it out there and get it published. It's also an opportunity to network and meet with other people from other agencies, from other industries, from clients. And it's a very collegiate atmosphere at the ISMPP meetings. It's not about, I said there's some recruiter involvement, but it's not about recruitment. It's about sharing best practices, exchanging ideas, and it's about making friends. Some photos from the US meeting, and had I realised the orange jacket wouldn't have gone with the green background, I would never have worn it. I mentioned CMAP certification earlier. The Certified Medical Publication Professional is a credential, it's not a qualification. It demonstrates that you're knowledgeable about the profession, that you have expertise as a publication professional, you're capable of being a trusted advisor. It also demonstrates leadership in upholding and fostering the integrity of being a publication professional. It's open to those with 2 or more years of publication planning experience, and the reason for that is because it's a credential. My personal opinion is you shouldn't, if you're taking the CMAP exam, you shouldn't need to learn anything. You should already know. It's a assertion that you can practice what you know and is embedded in your daily practice. So, what's in it for me? I think I've shown you some of what's in it for me, some of the opportunities to get involved with other like-minded professionals, to get involved in research, to get involved in advocacy. What got me involved in ISMPP was a desire to rather than just say when articles or bad publicity came out, that's not fair. I wanted the opportunity to do something about it, and joining ISMPP helped me do that. So that's what's in it for me, and there are lots of things in it for you. Links, ISMPP websites, MPIP, GAP websites, and the 10-year slide deck I mentioned earlier. So thank you very much for listening.